Cooper.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you. Well, you sure know how to make me feel very humble. Thank you so much. I think one of the biggest misconceptions in this country is what this country is all about, who founded it, for what purpose, and most specifically, what it is that we're all looking for. I'm going to try to clarify some of those, and in doing it, as always happens, someone's going to be angry with my definition of some of these things. I've traveled all over the country. I've talked to probably hundreds of thousands of people individually over a lot of years.
Raging Cajun, yo! Hit play, go.
I broadcast a radio show that brings me thousands of letters every week. I administer the world's largest and most successful civilian intelligence gathering operation in the world, which makes me privy to an awful lot of information that none of you will ever see. And there's so much of it, I can never present it in a form that you would be able to look at it and digest it. So that puts a pretty big burden on me and the people who work with me in the intelligence service and in the CAGI News Service in order to digest this information, analyze it, and be able to present to you what we believe, and this is a subjective judgment, what you can digest and what you need to know at that particular time. And in doing this, digesting all this information, reading all of these letters from people of every kind of background that you can imagine, every race, every religion, every kind of agenda. Believe me, there's an awful lot of agendas going on in this country that are dangerous to Americans, being promoted by people who claim to be Americans, who claim to be patriots, and who claim to be doing the best for this country, including those who want to destroy it and bring about a one-world totalitarian socialist government. They sincerely believe in their heart they're doing the right thing for humankind. You see, nobody gets up in the morning and sets out to do evil. Nobody consciously does that. I've never met any person in my entire life who said, I'm evil, I'm going to do evil things, I like to do evil things, I want to do evil things. They don't exist, in my knowledge. They may exist somewhere, people like Jeffrey Dahmer. And I believe that even Jeffrey Dahmer probably rationalized what he was doing in his own mind to make it right. Isn't that the way we all do things? Even if we do something wrong and we know we're doing something wrong, don't we attempt to rationalize it in our own mind and to our friends to justify what we're doing? So I believe it's a great fallacy to set out to brand those whom we disagree with as being evil people. The result of their actions we may perceive to be evil. We may perceive it to be bad, but I guarantee you those people don't see it that way. And when we present ourselves to them in that light, we're good and they're evil, do you think we have a chance of getting them to listen to us? Not on your life. It's not going to happen. So I think we have to change the way we talk. We have to talk to them in a different manner. Now, don't take what I'm going to tell you standing up here today and compare it to what I say on the radio and expect the two to concur. Because when I'm here,
I am so enthralled, and I appreciate that everyone is watching me now. Samuel casting William Cooper, and I got Raging Cajun here, but it's like, yo, do I really have to, like, do I really have to do this? Do I really have to do this? You guys should be doing this on your own. You should be researching people like this on your own. But I'm happy to, I guess, be your big daddy moving forward. Hit play.
Here, I'm just Bill Cooper. I'm talking to you from my heart. When I'm on the radio, I am on a mission. And that mission is to slap people upside the head and wake them up and even make them hate me, if that's what it takes to get them to go examine what I'm telling them to find out that it's right. You see, I don't care how it's done as long as they wake up. If I have to be the bad guy that they're going to hate for the rest of their life, that's okay with me if I wake them up. But when I'm here talking like this, that's not my mission, because you're awake already or you wouldn't be here. You see? There's a difference between the people here and the people that I'm talking to over those airwaves. Big difference. An awful lot of you are steady listeners of the Hour of the Time and have been probably for many years. And when I'm talking on the radio, I know who you are and I'm not talking to you. And I know that when you're listening and I talk about the sheeple, the stupid sheeple, it doesn't make you angry. You know why? Because you know you're not stupid sheeple, don't you? The person that gets angry has verified that I was right. Because he wouldn't get angry if he didn't know in his heart that he's a stupid sheeple. You ever been walking down the street, somebody comes running out and says, bank robber, stop that bank robber. Do you start running? Why don't you start running? Because you're not the bank robber, right? Do you get angry? No. Do you pay attention? Most of the time, if you're from a big city, chances are you don't even look around, right? If you're from a small town where I'm at, I mean, people will come running out in the street to see the bank robber. Because it's a small town and not much excitement goes on there, unless the IRS comes to mess with me. So, what I'm going to talk to you about today comes from my heart, from my experience in life, from playing this role as messenger, which I take very seriously, from my efforts to wake up the American people, from my family, from all the letters that I get, the people that I talk to, just like I've talked to many of you here today. I've learned some things, and I think these things need to be passed on to you. And I think you need to start examining yourself, your agenda, your mission. Who are you? What are you about? What do you believe about America? Is it true? Are you helping to divide us more? Or are you helping to bring us together? Do you really understand what this country is all about? Now, I know this is going to make some of you angry. That's okay. I know that it's going to open some doors for some of you. I hope that it'll bring us all a little bit closer together. And I hope that everybody, once you've examined your own particular agenda, will try to make it fit better into what we should really be doing. And I'm going to start off way back in history, folks, because that's really where it began. The human race is young in the whole scope of the life of the earth. We're just a young species, really. Haven't been around for a long time compared to everything else that's in this world. And I'm not talking about biblical years, and I'm not talking about theory of evolution years. I'm talking about from the time when you can see that man emerged on the historical scale of this world and began to affect other species and the world that we live in, and himself, by perfecting the ability to think. First original thought. See, there used to be a time in history when man was just like all the other animals. He didn't think, he didn't know good from evil. He existed and lived by instinct just like the other animals did. If you want to believe the record that we can look back and see written in stone. Okay? If you want to believe that there were creatures that ultimately became this thinking man that you see standing up here in front of you and sitting out there amongst you, didn't have this ability. Now, if you doubt that, read Genesis in the Bible and you'll see that it's confirmed.
We have to stop a little bit here and say, and the reason that I'm able to stop and hear what Mr. Bill Cooper is saying he actually believes in God, which to me is paramount. And the reason that belief in God is paramount, I think, is going to come forth in the next 6 minutes of this discerning, what's the word? Speech. How's that? I use the word speech. I was trying to be fancy and say dissertation. I don't fucking know what that word is. Disinterson. In the next 6 minutes, you're going to hear. And you're going to hear why I'm sharing this. Hit play, go. Come on. Hit play. There you go.
Confirmed there. Wasn't there a time when Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden? They were not to think. They did not know good from evil. They were just there to take care of the garden. Is that correct? So this concept and the biblical concept agree. Man just enjoyed what God had put there and sort of took care of the garden. Any dentist will tell you that our mouth was not made for eating meat. So ancient man
Fucking Raging Cajun said dissertation. I suck. I suck. Sometimes I'm awesome. Sometimes I suck. Anyway, Bill Cooper.
And most probably ate vegetables and nuts and things like that. Roots. Doesn't mean that I'm telling you to become a vegetarian, because I'm not. You see, I really believe in freedom. I believe you should eat whatever you feel like eating. That's your business. But that's known to people who study these things as the age of innocence. Something happened that brought man out of that state, and if you're talking from a biblical reference, out of the Garden of Eden and into the world. He wasn't innocent anymore. He understood that he was naked, that his partner was naked. He could think. He could look around. He knew when something was good and when it was bad, just as we all do here. When somebody comes up to me and says, well, how do we know which is the right way to go? I know that person is setting me up to justify his bad deeds, and I won't do it. You always know. We always know which is the right way and which is the bad way. The bad way sometimes feels better, so we may choose that way and justify it by rationalization in order to make ourselves feel better about the bad that we did. In the mystery schools, they refer to this mystical time of coming out of the age of innocence as the Luciferian philosophy. I've tried to illuminate you with this for years on my radio broadcast. In the Bible or in the church, they talk about the fall of man. The same thing. There's only one difference.
There's only one difference, is that I have fucking 5 people watching my live stream right now. So, here's... Oh, boy. I got Raging Cajun helping me out. I'm not a very special person, folks. But what I do know is that William Cooper, Bill Cooper, needs to be shown. So I'm putting him out on my live stream tonight. And I'm featuring him as someone that I need to listen to him over and over again, because I actually have to put together my thoughts based on what this guy has thrown out there in general. However, However, the drug addict in me must take some marijuana gummies. So I have to do that just so I can get to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Pineapple. Hit play.
Difference between the Luciferian philosophy and the fall of man is that those who talk about the fall of man believe in God, whether or not they believe in a Savior, they believe in God. The ones who believe in the Luciferian philosophy do not. Now here's how that works. In the Bible, we're told that Eve was tempted by Satan to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God had commanded Adam and Eve not to eat of the fruit of that tree. If you do, ye will surely die. Isn't that the commandment? Lucifer, through his agent Satan, on the other hand, told Eve, God lied to you. He's holding back the fact that you too can become God. But first you have to eat of the fruit of this tree. And if you do, you will surely not die, but shall become as gods. Isn't that true? So, from the religious aspect, we see that as the fall of man because man disobeyed God. We see that as the subjugation of the woman beneath man, where she had originally been the partner. Now she is subjugated beneath man because she was the agent of man's downfall. Is that correct? Now, I'm not talking right or wrong. I'm not trying to insult anybody in here. I'm just telling you what we're taught so that we all understand what we're talking about, because that's most important. If you understand something differently than what I'm trying to impart to you up here, and we don't have the same definition, we're not going to understand each other, are we? The mysteries, on the other hand, look at this in a different light. Here's their story. It's a metaphor. They don't believe that there ever was a God, or that there ever is a God, aside from man himself. And man has not reached that state yet, but can, this is what they teach in the lodges, that if you perfect yourself as the temple of the God within and become Christed, you've all heard this in the New Age movement, you too can become God. In her movie, Running on the Beach, spinning around, I am God. Go ask her early in the morning when she just wakes up and goes and sits in front of the mirror and looks at her aging face and tries to cover it up with makeup if she's God. She may tell you a different story about that time. Around noon, she might be feeling better and become God again. But this is the reality of the human condition. We'd all love to be gods, wouldn't we? My question to Shirley MacLaine at one time was, please, Shirley, could you make me a universe? She sort of looked at me with this hurt look on her face as she confronted her mortality and realized that she was not God because she could not make me a universe. She couldn't even make herself a universe. She can't even make herself look young again. She's having a hard time paying some of her debts. God doesn't have that problem, does he?
All right. We Blazing Atrium, we can't take the conventional Genesis story as unadulterated. The notion of God is the counsel of gods. It doesn't explain where other humans sprung from outside of the garden. It's synthesized. Interesting. Elohim is called the name of God, but it's rendered as God in parentheses S, so making it plural. There is but one God. All right? So what the fuck was this is from Blazing Atrium. We can't take the conventional Genesis story as unadulterated. The notion of God is the counsel of gods. So what this person is putting forth is polytheism. It doesn't explain where other humans sprung from outside of the garden. It's synthesized. I actually agree. Zero argument from me there. You know why? Because it's a fucking fact. I've always struggled as a Christian myself. And by the way, fuck the Pope. Fuck the Pope. Fuck the Pope. I've always struggled with the fact that that there are human beings in the jungles of Africa and Brazil and Australia where they haven't sniffed the name Jesus Christ ever in their entire life. I'm a Christian. I am a Christian. But there are human beings who have never, ever, 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 never even heard the word Jesus Christ, but they're still human beings. I'm not going to go convert them. Stupid. Very dumb for me to do something like that. In fact, if I was to do something like that, it would be seen as abhorrent behavior. It would be perceived as aggressive behavior. So I want my Christian friends to help me with this, JB Rince. Five people watching. Holy crap. I can't even believe this. Yeah, Raging. I gotcha. Raging. I got you 100%, bro. The last thing that literally that I want to happen is that this channel becomes and like that you guys think I'm not a believer.